Taoist Magic Talk Show brought to you by Taoist Master Ji Sifu and King Dragon Taoism. Hurang Tenjun. Welcome back to the show, everyone. This is your Ji Sifu right here. Welcome back to another exciting episode. And today we are going to talk about the power source, how to live with the Tao. That's basically the rough idea for today, and we'll see how it goes as we get into the topic. Because I realized that a lot of Westerners or outsiders, when they think about, hey, I am a Taoist now, or maybe I will be a Taoist, so how can I apply the Tao to my life? And then I saw a lot of people trying to I read the book every day and I read the Tao Te Ching every day, and then I just try to interpret it and I try to apply the concept to everything. You know what? You went wrong. Okay? You have went all the way wrong. It's not like that. Okay? Let me tell you what. It's not like that. Exactly wrong. Okay? Being a Taoist, you don't just understand some theory and then you apply it to things according to how you think it is. It's not like that. And I would say that in the Western side on the internet, a lot of people are lost, but they think they're not lost. And it's very hard to watch, And then eventually, of course, they run out of ideas, and then you see people mixing stuff. Okay, let's mix in some Buddhism, mix in some Reiki, mix in some other New Age stuff, and then it becomes all weird, right? To me, you're worse than not doing anything. If you don't believe in anything and you just live a normal life, you're totally fine. But if you live like that, you are in a mess. Because you're not doing anything close to what you should be doing, and you are actually doing something very bad, which cause harm to yourself, and you're going to spread that out to other people saying that, hey, you know what? I got some good stuff. You follow my way. And it's like a virus. Everyone just get into this thing, and it becomes like a disaster on the internet. That's what Taoism is like right now. It's so hard to watch. So I would like to bring some light to you guys. And I'm not just talking about my lineage here, okay? I want to make it a little bit more open for everyone in the world. Everyone, okay? So I'm going to talk about Taoism in general, not only in my sect, okay? Not only in my lineage, but in other sects as well. So if you, Guaylo, you Western people, right? You think that, hey, you know what? This guy don't know what he's talking about, huh? He is just promoting his own stuff. Well, here you go. I'm going to tell you stuff from the Taoism that is in the actual society right now. If you are a Taoist in the Asia side, okay, that's what we do. It's not just my sect. It's every Taoism sect does it. It's just you guys, the Westerners, who are somehow fooled into what I call bookshelf Taoism. So you only believe in books, read some books and then that's it. You are missing out the whole thing of what Taoism is. So what does a Taoist do? First of all, you got to be a Taoist, right? So every Taoist need a Sifu, a master. You need to enter a lineage or sect, and then you have a master who teach you. And also, this master is not just responsible for teaching. The master is responsible for passing on the powers to you. The master is it's like a gatekeeper, or someone a medium, someone who can actually connect to the Tao of that lineage, the powers of that lineage or sect, okay, whatever word you want to use, okay? I have a hard time figuring out, the sect versus lineage, But anyway, I used the word lineage for many years, so I just get used to it. Anyway, oh, you know what I mean, right? So a sect, okay? So whatever sect you're in, you have your own power source that your own sect have cultivated. Now, I'm not going to like talk about my sect all the way because you might think, hey, this guy's doing promotion, right? So I'm going to go into the sect in China right now, okay? Look, there are a few sects that is very big in China. For example, the Maoshan sect, the Jingyat sect, okay? The Qunzhen sect. Qunzhen is like those people, you know, in the Wudang Mountain, right? They do Tai Chi and, you know, those guys, right? And they don't just do Tai Chi, okay? In Qunzhen, it's like they have their magic, their cultivation, their chanting, you know, those things, okay? So definitely it's not a philosophy-only Taoism, okay? They're very religious. And then the Jingyat sect is like they're like called the Celestial Master sect, the Tinsi, right? Tinsi Fu. And they have like a lot of magic practice as well, and chanting. You can like search on YouTube. You can search their chanting videos on YouTube, and you see every day like that's their daily homework. Every day, morning, night, noon, there's like a chanting ceremony. They have to do it as part of their homework. Okay? So it's definitely not just read some books and philosophy and that's it. You guys are crazy. I mean, it's so hard to control myself when I think about how bad the Taoism is in the Western world right now. Anyway, the next one is like the Maoshan sect. You all know Maoshan, right? There's like actually two different Maoshan. One of the Maoshan is Maoshan Shen Gong, which is more famous in Hong Kong. And that's like, they're like more famous because they grow bigger in Hong Kong and it's like more famous for their fu and magic and stuff like that. And then there's also the Maoshan in China, which is more close to, you know, the traditional vibe. So they have like more books, scriptures, and those kind of like literacy things. You know, they have more stuff to teach you, but basically it's like they all do magic. Okay, so anyway, now first of all, you gotta understand, if you go into one of these sects to learn, right, those things that you get to learn or you can learn in the sect, it's not like, you know, something just dropped from the sky and then, oh wow, we got a book, right? It's not free. How did they come up with these things? Have you ever thought of that? Like, how did they even have the books, the scriptures, the fu and magic and all that knowledge and theory? How did they get those? Don't tell me that these are all from the Lao Ji who write the Tao Te King. You are crazy. That Lao Ji who write the Tao Te King, he's only a librarian. He only likes, you know, his job was a librarian, right? So he is not like specialized in these things. So how did people have all these like knowledge, or you can say magic content? Okay, how do they have these things? Well, every sect have their own stuff, right? And you see, if you trace back the history, there is always the first generation, someone who started the sect, and then it passes on, and then pass it on, and then so many generations after, there goes like a whole library of stuff. They grow, right? Don't tell me that they don't grow. Every sect grow as they pass it on. So when they keep growing, every sect is like they're cultivating their own library, their own database, you know, their own content, resources. These things are there because of the people who are in your sect in the earlier generations. They worked hard to come up with these things. Some of them got the teachings from their uppers, like the gods, or you know, their higher powers. Some people get it because they discovered it, and they like drill into their own system and then somehow discover some new things and then they put it there, right? Some people have to like go through hurdles. So it's like, for example, one of the generation, they have to face a super big problem of this issue. And then because of that, they have to invent or figure out some skills and things like that to deal with the problem. So that's how they have that stuff in the lineage. And now you can look at it. Hey, so you see, every generation worked hard to build a system. And now you enter that sect. You are learning the accumulated bunch of treasures from the many generations before you in that lineage. Tell me how you, as an outsider, can just go to like bookstore or Google around and then find some books and figure it out yourself. It's impossible. It's impossible. You cannot figure it out. It's like you try to figure out how to build a computer without even knowing anything. It's, like people have been doing a lot of studies and things like that to, even understand electronics. And then they go from there and then slowly, develop from like maybe a little chip and then, eventually to the computer today. It's like a long way, right? Now, Taoism, every sect is like that too. Every sect has their own library of treasures. And if you enter, you are learning from that system, not the other ones. Hey, if you enter this like ABC sect, your life should be focused on learning the stuff from the ABC sect, because I don't believe you can finish learning all that stuff before you die. But somehow these days, people are so weird. They're like, they enter one sect and then they're like, oh, I don't feel like I have enough. And then they go everywhere and then like join this and join that. And then they combine every sect together. And at the end, you know what? They look like crap. Because why? It's like, you're not even good at this sect. And then you try to learn a bit here, mix there. Come on, you know what? Like some of the stuff is not compatible. And the most important thing is those content, the stuff that you learn in the sect, draws power from your own lineage or a sect power source. So imagine like your sect, ABC sect, okay, has a ABC god. Whatever content, whatever magic, spells, food, whatever you do is basically a way to ask this god for help. So the god can give you the specific help when you do that magic. If you mix in other lineage stuff into the system, it's like you are using some other languages to try to communicate with your God. First of all, it is an act of very disloyal. Like you're like very disloyal to your God and very disrespectful, because it's like, for example, let's say your God speak French, okay? And then you went to like Japan and then you bring back some Japanese and you try to use Japanese to talk to your God, okay? It's like very disrespectful. Your God speak French, so go back to your French. What are you doing, right? So that's one thing that is like very bad to do. Mixing sect, mixing stuff. It's like you're going crazy. And another thing is, if even if your God understand the language, okay, your God will be like, they will be thinking like this. Did my sect not feed you anything? Like, are you starving? Why are you going outside and then like taking a bit here, a bit there? You're not a homeless kid. You're a disciple in this sect. We feed you what you need. You just need to ask your master for it. It's not like your master is not feeding you anything. It's just that you're disloyal. You're going around and trying to mix things up. So just because of that, you're pissing off the God already. It's like, yeah, it's really ugly, right? It's really ugly. Traditionally in the Chinese culture, even for martial art, and I believe for other like traditional art as well, it's like that. If you are learning from a sifu already, like a master, right? You're not supposed to learn from another master unless your master approved and like kind of recommend you over there to learn. So let's say like right now these days it's very different because people are very westernized and the mindset is so different because it's all about money. Right? Like right now, if you go, for example, you go to learn Kung Fu, you learn Shaolin Kung Fu, right? It's just about paying the money and then you go to the classes and you can learn. That's it. So if you pay for classes and learn Shaolin, you can also go pay the other guy and learn Wing Chun, and then you can pay another guy and learn Tai Chi. It's up to you, right? No one cares. As long as you pay, it's fine. But back in the old days, it's not like that. You have a master, and the master is like supposed to teach you for the rest of the life, no matter you pay or not. It's like the relationship is there for a lifetime. It's not based on money. It's based on the relationship, based on the heart. You agree that this is your master for the whole life. That's it. That's basically it. Now, if you are like learning, for example, you got a master in the old days. You got a master, and you're learning, like for example, you're learning Wudang Kung Fu. Okay, so yeah, okay, Wudang Kung Fu. So you're learning that. You got a master there. Now, if your master feel like, hey, you know what? You actually fit learning Tai Chi or learning whatever other things more, right? And they will recommend you a friend that they think it's good. And then they will say, they will ask their friend, can you accept my disciple, like that? And they will recommend you to learn as like a side track learning. And that is the only way you can learn from the other one. If you learn from the other one at the back, behind your sifu, and if your sifu find out, your sifu is going to kick you out the door. It's like you're so disrespectful. It's kind of like you're cheating, like cheating on your wife, that kind of feeling. Because your sifu will feel like, now you feel like I cannot teach you anymore. That's why you went to outside and learn from other people. And it's very insulting for the master. So that's how it is in the old days. And Taoism keep this tradition. So if you're learning from one master, you're supposed, like one sect, one master, you're supposed to learn from that master. Right? That's how it's supposed to be, because the sect has its own power source. And the stuff that you learn is all about getting the power from that power source, not the other one. If you learn something from, like, if you learn some magic from an other sect, okay, those magic, it's drawing, like it's only for drawing the power from the other sect's power source. So you see, it really doesn't work for you. Even you learn the magic, it doesn't work for you because you are not a disciple or a member of the other sect. So that thing actually have nothing to do with you. You see? Oh. So that's how it goes. The Taoism magic is one big thing. Now, how is this like related to what we were talking about? Like, how the Western side are trying to, so hard to watch. They're trying to like, self-brew and say, hey, Taoism is just philosophy, that kind of thing. It's actually not like that. Now, it's about getting a master. Let's talk about how the disciple or the Taoists, after they got a master, how do they apply those things to their life? So, well, a lot of sects have their own spells, scriptures, and magic, fu, and things like that, right? Like, almost like all the sects have this stuff, in China. So, the way to apply the power from their power source into their life is very simple. Let me give you an example, right? In Chinese New Year, if you walk around the Chinese malls and stuff, or you look at the Chinese home, you see they have some like red banners taped up, right? For the Chinese New Year, like good luck phrases, right? That is like one demonstration of a tradition in the past that people used to do with magic involved. And nowadays it's like just a decoration. But back then it comes from a magic practice, which is taping up the food. You see, on a special day, right? Like special day, like a New Year, whatever, good day, right? You tape up some food, and the food is supposed to be there to ask that God to help you. Yeah, to help you, right? So, okay, How does it work in the villages? Like the villagers' house, they tape up all that stuff. How do they do it? Well, think about it this way. Let's say you are not a Taoist, okay? But you are a traditional Chinese living in the village. Those village, they all worship their ancestor in a special place in the village that they call a qi tong, which is like a place for all the people who are dead. They have a little wooden thing right there with their name, right? And you go there to worship all the ancestors of the village. Like everyone who died, you have a place there. So basically, that's like the center for the dead, the home for the dead, right? So they believe that the dead ones, the ancestors, is their power source. They are there to bless the future generation. Okay, at least that's what they believe. So that's their power source. Now you just need to write on the red paper what kind of wishes or blessings you want, and then they put it there and tell the ancestor, inform the ancestor, burn incense, talk to them and tell them, let's wish this year who and who will have a baby, who and will have good business, and so on, right? You do all the wishing, and then they take those banners and put it there for a while, let the ancestor put their powers on it, right? And they put it, and then they take it back home and they tape it where they need. So for example, you have one of the banner that say safety traveling. So you would tape that like where your door is, so whenever you go out, the power is going to like rain on you and help you to keep you safe when you travel around. Maybe there's one that's like healthy, like the whole year, something like that. Well, you put that somewhere like maybe near the kitchen or near where you eat dinner, then the power goes into the food and keep you healthy, things like that, right? That is one way how the traditional people does it without any special teachings from the master, and it's naturally done, and it very makes sense. Now in Taoism, we also do the same, but our power source is not the ancestor. Our power source, well, it is, but not the ordinary ancestor, not like your family member. The ancestor is related to the gods that pass down the stuff to your sect, and of course the other people before you. Like for example, if you enter a sect and they have 30 something generation, well, every generation usually the highest people will have a place in the temple, and when you invoke the gods with the spells, you usually also invoke those masters who are the high above from the previous generations, so that they are also here to help you, right? So anyway, it's basically all about getting the power from a higher power, that is your power source of the sect or the lineage, to give you the blessings, give you the help, give you the power. And the Fu is just like a medium that carries that power. It's like a paper that says what you need, and then they put the power there for what you need, right? And then you deploy those things to where you need. This is one way how normal Taoists or people will be using the Tao's energy. The Tao's energy is not nature outside. No way, it's not like that. The Tao for every sect and lineage is different. The Tao is the power source of the lineage. That's simply said, nothing fancy. The power source of that sect or lineage. And it's okay, look, if I say the bank account of Microsoft, the company, right? Can you get money there just because you're one user of the Windows or something? You can't. You gotta be in the working in the company, right? You gotta be part of the company in order to draw money out of the account, right? So this is exactly the thing. If you're not in the sect, you cannot get the money, right? You need to be a member. You need to have a master to accept you into the sect, then you can do magic. You can draw power out from that Tao's, that power source. So it's not like, oh, the Tao is nature. Everyone can have access to it. It's like free power. You are joking. No way, it's not. Every sect has their own account. Every sect has their own bank account, their own power source. It's cultivated by the people of the many generations before you. And this is like a treasure that is cultivated by many people, many generations. And that's why now when you do the magic, you can draw power from that place. And it's of course not like everyone wants to draw power that they can take. And also, you know, like morally, it's like you think you're a thief or what, right? You just go into people's account and then you can steal them. Of course, you cannot, right? So, yeah. And I mean, like people who think that they can just buy some books and then start doing magic, you're like, well, either you want to be a thief and try to steal, or you are just being so silly that you think, you know, the bank account have no locks and you can just like get into it whenever you want. And of course, the real ones, none of them are that lame. You know, they won't just let you take. If you take, you will get a consequence. You'll get fired. You know, it's like people have a guard there. They can use a gun to fire at you if you steal money, right? Well, at least like I know a lot of sect does that, and even for my sect, I does it too. You want to steal magic? I'm going to fire you. It's automatic, right? It's supposed to be one of the security system of the lineage. But anyway, so going back to the magic, okay, so how do people apply the power into daily life? Well, you see, we talk about the fu, right? You tape the fu here and there. You use those as a way to deploy the power from the Tao, right? And also you have spells that you can use. There are like hand signs, scriptures, like many methods. And those methods are what you can use to apply the power into your daily life stuff. For example, let's say today you are like having a very chaotic day and your mental state is like very messed up and very unstable. Maybe like you feel so shitty today and what to do, right? It's definitely not about sitting there meditating for 45 minutes and doing some breathings. You're being silly. That is not how it works. You have, for example, the heart purifying spell. You do the spell, and within like a few minutes, you should already have that effect kicked in, and your thought and mental state is all different already. You don't need to sit and like slowly do some breathings. The magic work right away. It's really fast. That's how you deal with it, right? Or let's say someone came to my house, and then after they're gone, I feel like depressed or something like that. Well, it must be they have left some bad energies, right? So you take a cup of water, write the fu inside, and then you sprinkle the water around while you recite the space purifying spell. And then ding ding, the whole place is purified. The feeling is gone right away. It's just that simple. Sometimes it's as simple as like you hold a hand sign, you do a spell and blast the hand sign out. The power goes out, bang, and energy crashes and problem solved right away. It's that fast. That's how you apply the Tao's energy in your everyday life. It's not about knowing some concept and then trying to live with the concept. You're going like, I don't know where you're going. It's totally the wrong way. To apply the Tao to your life is not about the concept. Well, there are concepts, okay? I mean, look, we have a lot of like teachings on virtues and, how some like philosophy stuff, right? There are stuff like that. But that is like only a part of it and a very small part. The big part is using the cultivated power. That is something that you as a Taoist can do and an ordinary person cannot. That is why you need to be a Taoist, because a Taoist have the access to this cultivated power source. This cultivated power source is exclusive for the lineage or sect that you are ordained into. It's only accessible by the member of the lineage or sect, and is not accessible by anyone else outside. So you see, it's exclusive. It's not like everyone can just get some help. It's not like that. The help is only given because you are a member of the lineage or sect. Okay? So there's no one who can just self-claim to be a Taoist and then like suddenly can get help from the Tao, because the Tao didn't accept you yet. You have not request to be accepted yet. If you self-claim to be a Taoist, it's like, well, you're like trying to be your own boss. Then you draw money from your own account. It's like, it's kind of it's kind of like drawing the money from your own personal bank account and say that, I have a company. Well, yeah, it's not like that, right? If you actually belong to a company, that company has an account with lots of money that is built up from generations of work. And that is the big difference from your own personal account, right? So, okay, so how do we apply the Tao's power into our lives? Well, beside the examples that I have said, okay, those magic. Another thing is we want to we have to understand two things. One is that sometimes there are help given even you didn't do anything. Because, why? Because you are related to the gods, right? The gods of the lineage. When you ordain, the gods of the lineage will promise you that if you keep your word and follow these rules, like you're being a good disciples, then in return, the Tao will give you protection. They will protect you. So that means if you have whatever problem, the gods will be there to help you, even you didn't ask for it. So let's say you have danger, somehow you run into some danger. Like, for example, someone with a knife, robbing you, whatever, right? The Tao will already give you the help right away without you doing any magic. It's automatic, okay? That only happened because you have a relationship with the Tao of that lineage. You are like a kid, okay, like a children, and the Tao is like the parent, right? They're like the grandparent. So their job is to give you the protection and guidance and all that, right? If you behave like a kid, okay, and you treat yourself like a kid, you behave like a good kid in the lineage, then the Tao will give you the help. Now, however, there's a lot of people who don't start with the right mindset. Especially in the modern society, a lot of people are so used to like, I pay for this, so I should get this, like that kind of feeling. So they think that they paid to get ordained, then they should be having this and that, and it doesn't work like that. So you treat yourself like a client, like a buy stuff and then get stuff, that kind of client. So you have not put your mindset in the right place yet, then the God will not treat you like a kid yet. That is one thing, because it's like, yeah, the ordained ceremony is done, but you have not get into the position yet. It's like you get married with someone, yeah, the marriage ceremony is done, but you still act like, or you feel like you're single, and then you keep going outside with other women and things like that, right? So your wife is not going to treat you like you're a husband yet, because you are the problem. You treat yourself like a single, then your wife is not going to treat you like a husband. So if you ordain, you should treat yourself like a disciple, then what should you be doing? Well, first of all, look at the rules that you have to follow as a disciple. Okay, and then do the stuff that is required as a disciple. For example, in my lineage, disciple goes on the line chat room every day, and then they like say good morning, good night, greet people, and they should be learning. They should be proactively speaking, learning, communicating, and things like that. They're like stuff that they can read on and, things like that. So if you're a disciple, you should be doing these things, and then you act like a disciple. Also, the mindset puts you like in a lower position. So you never treat yourself like I'm at the same level as you, like that kind of feeling, right? You should never treat yourself that high. You should low down yourself, be a kid, be a children, right? You are supposed to learn, and if you need help, you ask for help. That's it. You don't treat yourself like, I know it already. You just need to tell me that again. That kind of feeling. And then you are in big trouble. So if you start to behave like a good kid, good disciple, the God there will already give you a lot of help without you asking. So even though you haven't learned a lot of methods, okay, like, spells, food, things like that, you didn't learn all that stuff yet. You're like a new disciple, right? New in the system, you didn't learn all that stuff yet. It's fine, that God will give you a certain amount of help to help you to pull through this newbie stage, and it will be there. You don't even need to do anything. The God will already be helping you. But then the thing is, you need to do a good job being a disciple. The better you are at a disciple, the more help you get from the God. That's simply the way it is. The better you are as a disciple, the more the God will help you. Okay? So this is the first thing that we talk about. The second thing is the actual magic that you apply. Okay? The actual magic that you apply, that you have to apply. What are those things for? Well, you can use it for yourself, of course, right? But the reason why a lineage has the fu and the spells and such is more like it's more intended to be used by the disciples to help the other people around them. That is like the main reason why there are things like that. Because the thing is, okay, the God is related to you, right? If the God needs to find you, they can find you right away because you're ordained. You have a record. You can be traced down. So the God knows where you are, can help you or beam the help to you, right? No problem. Or you also have a heart spell. So anything you can call the gods up, it's fine. But then, if let's say another person, an outsider, right? Like John, Susan, right? They don't have heart spell. They cannot connect to the God. They are not ordained disciples. So if they're like a believer and they come over to to pray to our God at the temple and things like that, right? How can the God help them? The God cannot follow them home because they have no relationship. So there goes the purpose of the fu. You get a fu, right? This fu is like a piece of paper, right? You get it empowered at the altar, and then now this guy can carry this fu home. The God will put their power into the fu, or even follow the fu home to that person's home, and now the power can follow them and give them the help. You see, it's like these magic is actually more intended for you to use for other people outside. So let's say there's a town, and the town has 3,000 people, right? And if you are the hero Taoist, the only one, the hero Taoist, right? You went into the town, and the whole town has a weird problem over there, which can be cured by your magic, right? You can't just tell your God, help these people. That's it. It doesn't work like that. You need to have a way to give them the help. And they are not ordained, and you cannot expect them to everyone just get ordained today, They're not going to do it. They don't even know your God, right? So how can you develop the relationship? Well, first of all, you can use the fu, right? So everyone can have a fu empowered by the God, and then everyone gets some help from the God. Now, out of the 3,000 people, there might be 2,000 that is getting the help and realizing the help is there. 1,000 may be I don't really feel it, So some people who felt it, they might come back. And then they're I need more. Then, yeah, okay, keep going. And then eventually, they will feel hey, this is good stuff. I want to learn and be able to help others like you as well. And then they will get ordained, and then they will learn the fu and such. And now they can use it. So you don't have to break your hand writing more fu, because your disciples now in that town can spread it out for you. They can be the one doing the magic for the others around them. And then you see that's how it goes. So Taoist magic is more there because the Tao need a way to help the other people outside who are not yet in the family. And eventually, because of the help, those people will eventually want to get ordained and become part of the family as well. And then now you can work on being a good disciple, and the God will help you even without the food and magic and all that around. Right? So some people will be thinking like, hey, what if I already have the problem and then I just forgot what magic to do, or like I forgot to do the magic, what to do, right? Well, it's fine, if you're a disciple, especially we're talking about like in my lineage, okay, if you're a disciple, you just need to focus on being a good disciple. That's the only focus you need, okay? Study the like 5 virtues, 10 commandments and all that stuff, right? Learn the virtues, apply them, and be a good disciple. And because you're doing that, that God is already giving you the help every day. And if you have like problems happen and you just have to face it, the God power is there for you already, even you didn't do any magic. It's automatic, because the contract here is that when you ordain, right, the God have made their agreement with you, which is you follow these rules, you be a good disciple, you get like you be loyal and all that, then we will give you 3 things. That's what we call the 3 ordained, right? First is you ordain, and then you will get the Tao, which is the power source that leads you, right? So you get the Tao, and the Tao is going to lead you to a destination that you will go after you die. So it's like after you're dead, you have a place to go, okay? That's the first thing they agree with, to give you. And the second thing is they will give you the methods. The methods, like the content, like the Taoist magic, the content. These are like the tools in a toolbox. When you face problem, you can use these tools to deal with problems. Okay, that's the second thing. The third thing is the master. Well, there's the human master, like me, teaching you and guiding you, passing on the stuff to you. And there are also some other type of master, which is like the God that we put into you when you ordain, and there's a God at your altar, right? And so these gods are also your master. They're there to help you and guide you and such, and also help to protect you as well. So these 3 things are there for you if you are ordained and, you treat yourself like a disciple. One of the most important thing is the mindset. It all starts from the heart, right? If your mindset is like, I'm here just to try and, I'm giving it a try. Well, you try to give your wife a try and see what happens. Right? Like you get married and then you're like, oh, I'm just giving it a try, It's not like that, okay? Your wife is going to like divorce with you very soon if you're like that, okay? Once you get married, you got to be serious. You got to commit. You got to be real, all right? You got to start acting like a husband. You cannot try being one. If you try being one, you can be like boyfriend, girlfriend, right? Well, in our lineage, if you're like trying, you can be like going through the first stage and then be like a teenage stage believer. And then you'll be like there, working on the magic, learning yourself. No one's teaching you. You're just like on your own, trying things out. And even if you quit, no one cares. It's like you're just there to try, right? So we don't really put any feelings into your whatever thing, right? So we don't really care. You can quit anytime. But once you decided to ordain, that's a big thing. That's like a marriage, like you got to ordain. Wow, that's like a lifetime relationship. And to me, one of the disciples who ordained, to me, is like we got a lifetime relationship going on there. I am responsible to protect this person from now on. Whenever they have spiritual problems and things like that in their life, I'm there to help them. Okay, so it's not like, oh, the disciples start to like see ghosts or whatever, and then I'm like, oh, okay, go on my website, pay for this, pay for that, and you'll be fine. It's not like that, like I see you have problem, immediately I'll do magic for you without asking anything, and you will get the help right away. That's how the relationship is like. Because of the relationship, I'm always there for you. Okay, so you're not like a client anymore. You should not be trying things. Right? I don't try being your master. I am your master, right? So it all starts from the mindset, your heart, and this is one of the most important things that people missed out or overlooked, because when they ordain, like a lot of people feel that I paid, I'm supposed to get something, It's not like that, okay? You get ordained, then you need to treat yourself like a disciple. You should be learning proactively and like really treating yourself like a disciple. Now, if you don't know how a disciple should be or how a good disciple should be, I recommend you to go to my blog and check that post out. I got a blog post right there that talks about a classic called the 弟子规. It translates to like the disciple rule or the student rule, and it's one of the nice classics in Chinese that talks about like how to be a good kid, or like if you read it, you'll feel like it's teaching you how to be a good children, because the wordings are like do this like to your father, mother, and things like that. But if you read it right, it should be like, because you are a disciple, so you treat your master like a father. That's why it's called 师傅. 师傅 is like, 师 is the teacher, 父 is like the father. So you're like a father generation teacher. Okay, so you treat your 师傅 like a father. Your master is like a father. So if you read that classic, you have to understand that. Keep that in mind. The 师傅 and like the father and mother is talking about your 师傅 and your 师傅's wife. Okay, and so they talk about how you should be as a child to your master like that. And like there are some things that like if you read it right now, if your children do that to you, you will feel very happy and very touched. But somehow in these days, people are so bad being a children, and they don't even have these things anymore. For example, there's one thing that talks about when like you should always ask if your parents are feeling good or feeling well, or are you too hot or too cold, and then like, do you need a jacket, like things like that, right? You see, like winter is coming, it's getting very cold. Oh, how come no one asked me how are you feeling, do you need a jacket, or is it cold there, some words of care, right? Somehow people don't ask these things anymore. They don't ask these things anymore. It's like, I don't know why, but maybe school don't teach it, right? But it's so weird, right? And then there's another example. They will say like, if there's like a place to sit, you let the elders sit first. Or in the subway, you see people who are older than you, something like that. You let them sit first, right? That's logical, right? But these days, sometimes people are like so bad with their virtues. And there was a time I remember on Zoom call, right? People just don't get it. I was like standing up, talking, and everyone's supposed to stand up, right? So we're like all standing up, and there are like disciples who just sit down, and they're like, I'm like, why are you taking a seat suddenly? I'm still standing up. Like I stood up there talking for the whole hour, and the disciple just decided to like sit, and then I'm like, okay, that looks weird. But it is weird. I mean, like, the disciples don't have enough respect, then they will not grind through it. They will not even ask, can I sit? They just sit down. They don't give a shit about you. Right? Bad manners, not respectful enough. So a lot of things like that, read that post. Go to my website, teenagedragon.com, and then go all the way down. On the left side of the menu, there's like a small menu on the bottom, and you'll see the English blog. Click in there, and there's like a few posts about these things. One of them, it has a thumbnail with like a daddy holding up a kid. That post, I have a link to a full translation of that classic on another website. I feel that most people these days are doing a really poor job as a children. And I don't know if you got a children that make you blood vomit or not, but seriously, in the modern society, this thing that they call filial piety, I don't know is that how you say it, it's like non-existent in the Western culture, very much non-existent, because there's no teaching on this in the school system, and people are just not respectful, they're like getting so bad with these things. And I feel that this classic is going to bring back some good teachings for everyone to review. And if you're a parent, even you don't decide to ordain and learn Taoism, read that thing and then teach your children, or at least, try to bring some knowledge to your children or grandchildren and wake them up. Just tell them, awaken that side of their heart. Tell them, if you do this later on, your next generation do that to you, you're going to feel so good. Because it's like you feel the heart from people when they respect you and act it out like that, right? So this is like one thing that everyone should take a look at. It's very, very interesting. If you take a look at it. When I was young, I don't really think that this is that deep and important. But at this age right now, I feel like, after going through so many disciples, accepting so many disciples, hundreds of disciples, I realized that a bunch of them are just they failed because their virtue is close to none. And it's like, no matter where these people go, they're going to they are going to fail everything in their life because of virtue. They don't have the right mindset as a disciple. And so no matter where they go, they're going to fail. They're going to swim around this and that, everything they're going to try, but they're not going to get anything at the end. So really important. As a Taoist, as a normal person, you need to learn this stuff, okay? Virtue, so important. So anyway, thanks for listening and watching. So check out my website, tinadragon.com. And of course, if you want to ordain and learn the real Taoism, Taoist magic, you can start today. Go on the website, get ordained, and, we can get started right away. Okay, so we'll see you in the next episode. Bye-bye.